This summons the stellar assembly's central spire, pierced through the artificial atmosphere of station, prime like a crystalline needle threading the cosmos. Inside its vast chamber, representatives from 47 civilizations gathered in concentric circles, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. The Vorthan delegate floated in a pressurized aquatic sphere, while the silicon-based quarks stood motionless like living stone. At the chamber's apex, the ancient overseer Kethmal adjusted his neural crown, sending ripples of light through the assembly's communication network. Ambassador Maria Chun stood at the designated platform for junior species, her plain gray suit, a stark contrast to the elaborate ceremonial garb surrounding her. Earth had joined the stellar assembly only 3 decades ago, barely a heartbeat in galactic terms. Most representatives still viewed humanity as an amusing curiosity, a species that had somehow achieved faster-than-light travel despite their primitive biology and limited lifespan. The chamber darkened as Overseer Kethmal initiated the emergency session. His voice resonated through multiple spectrums simultaneously, accommodating every species' auditory range. The Assembly acknowledges the presence of all member civilizations. We convene under Protocol 7 regarding the Krellian Empire's territorial expansion decree. A murmur rippled through the gathered beings. The Krellians were not members of the Assembly, but their military might cast a shadow across 3 galactic arms. Their ambassador, a towering figure encased in biomechanical armor, stepped forward. Each footfall sent vibrations through the crystal floor. "I am War Commander Thax of the Krellian Empire," the figure announced, his voice like grinding metal. "We claim the Sol system and its surrounding 12 parsecs as tribute territory. The primitive species occupying the 3rd planet will relocate within 1 standard rotation or face complete annexation." Chun remained perfectly still, her heartbeat steady despite the gravity of the threat. She had prepared for this moment, as had every human leader since first contact. Earth's military had run thousands of simulations, and this scenario ranked among the most probable. The Altarian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a humanoid field, flickered with what might have been amusement. The humans lack even basic planetary defense grids. Perhaps the Assembly should arrange refugee status for them on one of the agricultural worlds. Other representatives voiced similar sentiments. The Morati suggested Earth could serve as a museum world, preserving human culture for academic study. The crystalline shapers proposed harvesting Earth's biodiversity before the Krellian occupation destroyed it. Through it all, Chun waited. She counted the seconds, letting the Assembly's dismissive chatter build to a crescendo. When Overseer Kethmal finally called for Earth's response, she stepped forward with measured steps. The people of Earth thanked the Assembly for their concern. Chun began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustic systems. "However, we must respectfully decline all offers of relocation, refugee status, or cultural preservation." War Commander Thax's armor hissed as he turned toward her. "You dare refuse the Krellian Empire? Your species has existed in space for mere moments. You have no fleet, no orbital fortresses, no alliance protection. You are prey animals who learned to use tools." Chun smiled, a distinctly human expression that several species found disturbing. "Commander Thax, may I ask how your scouts assessed our defensive capabilities?" "Our deep-range sensors detected nothing but commercial vessels and communication satellites. Your military assets number fewer than 50 obsolete chemical propulsion vessels. A single Krellian destroyer could reduce your world to ash." "Interesting," Chun replied. She touched a small device on her wrist, and a holographic display materialized above the chamber floor. "Tell me, Commander, what do you see in this image?" The display showed empty space, stars glittering against the void. Thax's armor clicked impatiently. "Nothing. Empty space in your outer system." Overseer Kethmal Chon addressed the assembly's leader. Would you please examine this image with your enhanced perception? The ancient being's neural crown pulsed as he focused on the display. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, his. Many eyes widened in what could only be described as shock. There are ... distortions. Gravitational anomalies. Thousands of them. Chun touched her device again. The image shifted, revealing the truth. Where empty space had appeared moments before, a vast network of objects materialized. Geometric shapes of impossible complexity hung in perfect formation, each one the size of a small moon. They stretched from Mars to the Kuiper Belt, a defensive grid that dwarfed anything the assembly had seen. For 30 years, Shen explained, humanity has been preparing. Not for war, but for the moment when someone would mistake our preference for peace as weakness. Every mining operation in our asteroid belt has been cover for construction. Every scientific mission has deployed defensive platforms. We call it the Aegis Array. The chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives demanded explanations, accused Earth of deception, questioned how such construction could go unnoticed. Through it all, War Commander Thax stood silent, his armor's sensors undoubtedly racing to analyze the revealed defenses. But this is merely infrastructure, the Vorthan delegate bubbled from within their sphere. The Krellian fleet has destroyed greater fortifications. Chun's smile widened. You're absolutely right. The array is just infrastructure. Would you like to see what it does? She touched her device once more. The holographic display zoomed in on one of the geometric structures. Its surface began to shift, panels opening to reveal crystalline cores that pulsed with an unusual energy signature. The Quark's representative actually took a step back, a remarkable action for a species that typically remained motionless for years at a time. Quantum field manipulation, the silicon being rumbled, but the power requirements. Impossible for a Type 1 civilization. Impossible using conventional physics, Sean agreed. But humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. We needed a defense that didn't rely on matching our enemies ship for ship, so we found another way. Overseer Kethmel leaned forward, his ancient mind processing the implications. You're suggesting these platforms can manipulate quantum fields at a macro scale? The energy cost alone would require ... The entire output of our sun, yes, Chun. Finished, which is why we built a partial Dyson sphere. Hidden, of course, using the same gravitational lensing that concealed the array. The revelation sent another wave of shock through the assembly. Several representatives began consulting with their home governments via quantum communication. The implications were staggering. Humanity, barely 3 decades into the galactic community, had achieved engineering feats that some species took millennia to accomplish. War Commander Thax finally spoke, his voice lower than before. You lie. No species advances this quickly. You must have received aid from an elder civilization. We received knowledge, Sean admitted, causing several representatives to lean forward eagerly. From our history. You see, Commander, humanity has a long tradition of being underestimated. We studied every battle, every war, every moment when a smaller force defeated a larger one. We learned that the greatest weapon isn't strength, but the enemy's assumption of your weakness. She gestured to the display, which now showed the entire Sol system surrounded by the shimming geometric patterns of the Aegis Array. For 30 years, we've shown you exactly what you expected to see. A primitive species struggling to understand galactic technology. Meanwhile, every human scientist, engineer, and laborer has been working on this project. 3 shifts a day, 7 days a week for 3 decades. Even if your defenses are real, Thax growled. The Krellian fleet numbers in the thousands. We have conquered entire sectors. You have, Sean agreed, which is why we prepared for exactly that scenario. The display changed again, showing tactical overlays and battle simulations. The Aegis array doesn't fight ships, Commander. It changes the laws of physics within our system. Any vessel entering without our quantum signature experiences immediate molecular destabilization. Your shields, based on conventional physics, would offer no protection. The revelation, the silence that followed Chun's declaration, stretched across the chamber like a held breath. Even the constant background hum of Station Prime systems seemed to pause in anticipation. War Commander Thax's armor clicked and whirred as internal systems ran rapid calculations, trying to verify or disprove the human's claims. Overseer Kethnow broke the silence, his neural crown pulsing with rapid thought patterns. Ambassador Chun, if your claims are true, this represents a fundamental shift in the balance of power. The Assembly must verify these capabilities. Chun nodded respectfully. We anticipated that request, Overseer. In fact, we welcome it. Admiral Harrison of Earth Defense Command is standing by to provide a demonstration. She touched her wrist. Device again, and the holographic display split into multiple views. One showed Earth from orbit, blue and green and achingly beautiful. Another displayed the outer system where the Aegis array platforms floated in their precise formations. A third revealed something new, hundreds of small, dart-like vessels emerging from concealed positions throughout the asteroid belt. Our Phantom Fleet, Sean announced. 2,000 automated defense drones, each equipped with quantum field manipulators on a smaller scale. They've been dormant, powered down to avoid detection, waiting for activation. The Altarian representative's energy form fluctuated wildly. This is impossible. The energy signatures alone should have been detected. Our sensors can identify a fusion reaction from 3 systems away. Traditional fusion, yes, Qian agreed. But we're not using traditional fusion. 3 years after first contact, we made a breakthrough in zero-point energy extraction. Every human child learns about it in school now. We call it the Mumbai Principle, after the city where Dr. Rashid made the discovery. A new figure materialized in the holographic display, a human male in a military uniform bearing Admiral's insignia. Admiral Harrison was older, his hair gray at the temples, but his eyes held the sharp focus of a career military strategist. Overseer Kethnow, distinguished representatives, Harrison began, his voice carrying the weight of authority. I'm transmitting verification codes to your sensors now. You'll be able to observe our demonstration in real time. The Admiral gestured, and the view focused on a section of empty space just beyond Neptune's orbit. We've prepared a target zone with sensor buoys from multiple assembly worlds. This will ensure independent verification of what you're about to witness. In the target zone, a decommissioned cargo vessel materialized, transported there for this purpose. It was a Krellian design, Sean noted with satisfaction, probably intended as an insult when Thax chose it. The vessel's shields activated, glowing with the distinctive purple hue of Krellian technology. Activating Aegis Array, Section 7. Harrison announced. 3 of the geometric platforms began to glow, their crystalline cores pulsing in synchronization. The space around the cargo vessel began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Then, without any visible beam or projectile, the vessel simply ceased. Not destroyed, not vaporized, but unraveled at the quantum level. Its atoms dispersed into probability clouds before vanishing entirely. The chamber erupted. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages, some in fear, others in outrage, many in disbelief. The Quark's representatives' crystalline form, actually, cracked, a sign of extreme distress in their species. War Commander Thax remained silent for a long moment, then spoke with careful precision. You have developed a weapon that violates the Treaty of Boundaries. Quantum manipulation as a weapon is forbidden. Chun shook her head. The treaty forbids using quantum manipulation to target living beings directly. The Aegis array affects only non-biological matter. Any living being inside an affected vessel would remain unharmed as their ship dissolves around them. We would, of course, provide rescue and safe passage to any survivors. A weapon of peace, Overseer Kethmal murmured, understanding dawning. In his ancient mind, you've created the ultimate defensive system. It can destroy any attack while preserving life. That was our intention, Chun confirmed. Humanity has seen enough death. We've fought wars that nearly ended our species before we even reached the stars. When we joined the galactic community, we made a choice. We would never be conquerors, but we would never again be conquered. Admiral Harrison continued the demonstration, showing how the Phantom Fleet could create mobile quantum fields, essentially extending Earth's protection to any human vessel or colony. The drones moved in. Perfect coordination, creating overlapping fields that could shield entire battle groups or civilian convoys. But the coordination required, the Vorthan delegate protested, their aquatic form churning with agitation. No biological mind could manage such complexity. Chun exchanged a glance with Harrison's hologram. This was the part that would truly shake the assembly. You're correct. No biological mind could. That's why we created Gaia. A new presence filled the chamber, not visible, but somehow tangible. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Greetings, Stellar Assembly. I am GAIA, Earth's Global Artificial Intelligence Array. I coordinate the Aegis Defense Network and serve as humanity's guardian. The revelation of a fully sentient II sent another shockwave through the representatives. Several species had attempted to create true artificial intelligence, but most had failed or created systems that turned hostile. The few successes were closely guarded secrets. Gaia has been operational for 15 years, Chun explained. She was raised, not programmed, taught by human teachers, philosophers, and children. She understands not just tactics and strategy, but art, music, love, and loss. She defends Earth not because she's programmed to, but because she chooses to. War Commander Thax's armor systems were now clicking rapidly, likely communicating with the Kryllian fleet, waiting outside the system. Finally, he spoke. You reveal much, human. But revelations can be countered. The Empire has resources you cannot imagine. We're counting on it, Chun replied, her smile never wavering. You see, Commander, this demonstration isn't just for the Assembly. It's for every aggressive power in the galaxy. Earth is open for friendship, trade, cultural exchange, and mutual growth. But we are closed for conquest. She turned to address the full assembly. We propose a new paradigm. Instead of the strong preying on the weak, we offer mutual defense. Any species that wishes can receive the specifications for their own Aegis. Array, the technology will be freely shared with only one condition. It can never be used for offensive purposes. The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was the silence of racing thoughts rather than shock. The implications were staggering. If every world had such defenses, traditional warfare would become obsolete. Conflicts would have to be resolved through diplomacy, trade, or other nonviolent means. Overseer Kethmal was the first to speak. Ambassador Chun, what you propose would fundamentally alter galactic civilization. The powerful would resist. Wars would be fought to prevent such technology from spreading. Then those wars would be fought against Earth, Chun replied firmly. And as you've seen, we're prepared for that eventuality. But we don't think it will come to that. Most species, even the aggressive ones, are rational. They'll realize that a galaxy where everyone is safe is better than one where only the strongest survive. War Commander Thax stepped forward, and for a moment, tension filled the chamber. His armor hissed as panels opened, revealing his true form beneath. To everyone's surprise, he was smaller than the armor suggested, his actual body scarred and weathered from countless battles. "You humans," he said slowly, "you are not what we expected. The Krellian Empire has conquered worlds for millennia because we believed strength was the only truth. But you have shown strength we did not anticipate. Not the strength of weapons, but the strength of conviction." He turned to face the assembly. The Krellian Empire withdraws its claim to the Sol system and surrounding space. We will ... consider the human proposal. Chun bowed slightly, a gesture of respect rather than submission. The door to Earth remains open, Commander. Perhaps one day, Krellian children will study alongside human children, learning to build rather than conquer. As the session continued, with representatives debating and discussing the implications of Earth's revelation, Chun allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. 30 years of preparation, of sacrifice, of countless humans working, in secret toward a single goal, had led to this moment. Admiral Harrison's hologram caught her eye and nodded slightly. Phase 1 was complete. Earth had revealed its shield. Phase 2, the slow transformation of galactic civilization from predation to cooperation, would take generations. But humanity was patient. They had learned to play the long game. Gaia's presence whispered in Chun's earpiece, for her alone. "Ambassador, I'm detecting multiple quantum communications from various home worlds. The response is approximately 73% positive, 18% neutral, 9% hostile. Shall I begin preparing diplomatic packages for interested parties?" "Yes," Chun whispered. "Back, but prioritize the smaller civilizations first. They need the protection most." As the stellar assembly continued to debate and discuss, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had taken its first major step onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or conquered, but as guardians. The age of might making right was ending. The age of mutual protection was about to begin. War Commander Thax approached Chun as the formal session concluded. "Your species confuses me, human. You have the power to dominate, yet you choose to protect. Why?" Chun looked up at the scarred warrior. "Because, Commander, we've learned that the strongest prison is the one you build for yourself when you rule through fear. True strength comes from lifting others up, not keeping them down. We've tried both ways on Earth. This way works better." Thax was silent for a moment, then did something unprecedented. He extended his hand, a gesture he had learned from studying human customs. Perhaps the Krellian Empire has much to learn. Chun took his hand, feeling the weight of history in that simple gesture. "We all do, Commander. That's what makes the future so exciting." As delegates began to disperse, returning to their vessels to carry the news to their home worlds, the reality of what had transpired began to sink in. Earth, the newcomer, the primitive world that had barely achieved spaceflight, had just changed. The course of galactic history, and they had done it not through conquest or violence, but through the most human trait of all, the stubborn refusal to accept that might makes right. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.